What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 7-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. Even though there are less games today, it looks like with the hot weather around the country and some really high team totals, we should see some quality hitting today. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to win a free month of Osmo Plus. Make sure to like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. On Friday, nobody got it right when Mookie Betts went nuts, so get weird with it. Pick who you want, pick who's in your heart. Whatever you do, make sure to like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. It's Monday, so let's try our best to focus in on the first corner today. The top pitchers on today's slate, and Chris Paddack going against Baltimore to be the top owned option industry-wide. Paddack does not yet have a run total because Baltimore's pitcher hasn't been named yet, but he's expected to be the number 1 owned pitcher on DraftKings at 28%, on FanDuel at 27%, and he'll be number 5 owned on Yahoo at 20%. Paddack has destroyed right-handed batters with just a .8 whip, 3.2 xFIP, and 31.4% K rate, but he struggles versus left-handed batters with a 4.9 xFIP and a 206 ISO allowed, so Baltimore's lefty-heavy projected lineup isn't ideal, but they're still a bad enough team where Paddack looks like he's in a good spot here. If some more righties get into Baltimore's final lineup, it is a better spot for Paddack, but even with some lefties in there, these are not good lefties, and Paddack has been really good on the year overall. Jamie Barria versus Detroit should also find some fans today with 4 implied runs against him. Barria will be number 1 on Yahoo with 47%, and he'll be tied for number 1 ownership on DraftKings at 28%. Barria's been better versus left-hand batters with a 1.2 whip, 3.7 xFIP, and a 141 ISO allowed compared to a 1.5 whip, 5.6 xFIP, and a 210 ISO to right-handed batters. But Detroit's poor 26.6% K rate with only Nick Castellanos over a 93 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching is a good spot to target with Barria. Barria is priced well for this match, but if Nick Castellanos is held out again due to trade rumors as he was over the weekend, it could be an extra good spot for Barria, even though as a chalk pitcher, it does seem like he's worth having some leverage against him. And Sonny Gray versus Pittsburgh should also find some ownership today with 3.9 implied runs against him. Gray is tied for the Gray is also tied for that number 1 ownership on DraftKings at 28%, while he'll be number 3 on FanDuel with 14%. Gray has top strikeout ability with a 28.7% K rate and just a 1.1 whip allowed in 2019, but a positive hitting park and a Pittsburgh team who hits well with a 275 batting average and only strikes out at a 19.2% clip versus right-hand pitching can frustrate Gray. Sonny Gray has been really good at getting strikeouts and limiting damage this year, but Pittsburgh is a team who can hang in there. And a positive hitting park, I'm a little scared to match the field on Gray, but I do think I will have some ownership today. Now onto our next corner, the top stacks on the slate, and a Dodgers stack going against John Gray should be the top option industry-wide. The Dodgers get 6.8 implied runs for them, which are a slate high, and they project to be the top owned stack with Gray struggling versus left-handed batters with a 1.5 whip and a 212 ISO allowed. Despite the Dodgers' high 15% stack ownership, they have a greater chance to be a top stack according to our top stacks tool at Osmo.com, so this seems like a tough spot to avoid on this size of a slate. With Gray's weakness versus lefties and a lefty-heavy lineup going into cores against him, it's a really nice spot to go to the Dodgers today, no matter how chalky they end up. And on the other side, a Colorado stack versus Kenta Maeda should also find some ownership today with 6.3 implied runs for them. Colorado also projects for high ownership with Maeda comparably bad versus left-handed batters with a 1.6 whip and a 4.9 xFIP allowed. Colorado's projected lineup is lefty heavy to take advantage of Maeda's splits, but if more righties were in there, it could be more favorable for Kenta with a 32.2% K rate and a 2.8 xFIP versus right-handed batters. The majority of the lefties in Colorado's lineup aren't going to be the strongest, so I'm less inclined to stack them up than I am the Dodgers, but still a spot where some exposure here because Maeda does have some bad lefty splits, and again, they are at cores. And a Cincinnati stack versus Jordan Lyles should also find some ownership today with 5.6 implied runs for them. Lyles has decent strikeout ability with 24.9% K rate, but the 1.5 whip and 4.4% home run rate that he gives up in a positive hitting park can be trouble for him today. Cincinnati is reasonably priced besides the expensive but worthwhile Eugenio Suarez, and their projected lineup's 21.4% K rate is a good counter to Lyles' one strength. It's a quality spot here for Cincinnati given the power that Lyles gives out, but a strikeout ability does give me some potential for him as a leverage pitcher. Still think it's worth having some Cincinnati stack exposure, and there's one guy in particular who looks under-owned to me today who I'll talk about in a little bit. On to our next corner, the lower-owned options on today's slate, and an Angels stack going against Jordan Zimmerman is one of those teams. The Angels get 6.5 implied run, and Zimmerman allows over a 218 ISO to both sides of the plate with a 1.7 whip and just a 15.2% K rate this year. Only Mike Trout and Justin Upton look to be owned currently, but it's a stellar spot for Shohei Ohtani, or really anybody in this Angels lineup to get going. Zimmerman offers little resistance, and with the Angels a quality hitting team who also doesn't strike out, in a park that also favors hitting, it's a nice spot to go to the Angels with their ownership not that high today. Merrill Kelly at Miami also intrigues me today with 3.9 implied runs against him. Kelly isn't great with a 19.1% K rate, but his 1.3 whip is enough to be passable at Miami's park. Miami's just a 121 ISO and a 25.4% K rate on the year, so if Kelly isn't chalked, this is a decent spot to have ownership without many high upside cheap spots today. I wouldn't be thrilled to roster Kelly at his current price point, but I do think the spot here versus Miami is a good one. I'll have some of them today with a lot of questionable pitching that's going to have ownership so far. And a Kansas City stack versus Thomas Pannone also intrigues me with 5.4 implied runs for them. Pannone's allowed a 5.6 xFIP and a 46% fly ball rate in a positive hitting park on what should be a hot day. Kansas City definitely isn't good with just a 77 WRC plus and a 24.7% K rate versus left-hand pitching this year, but Pannone has been bad enough to get mini stacks or full stacks for Kansas City going. Kansas City is a pretty reasonable value team to add in there with some of the higher priced bats and pitching you'll want today. I think they're in a decent spot here, even though they really haven't shown much versus lefty pitchers so far this year. And Patrick Korbin versus Atlanta is also an ownership play that I'm intrigued by right now with 4.2 implied runs against him. Korbin has been strong in 2019 with a 28.5% K rate and just a 1.2 whip, as well as only a 2.6% home run rate allowed this year. A hot day in Washington versus an Atlanta team with 6 hitters over a 123 WRC plus versus left-hand pitching is scary, but Corbin's ownership is lower than expected on what looks like a weak pitching slate. With Corbin's ownership where it is right now, he does look like he's in a decent spot, but if his ownership were to rise, I think Atlanta stacks could be valuable leverage, so it all depends on how things look as we get closer to lock. Now on to our last corner, the one-offs on the slate, and Cody Bellinger going against John Gray is one that jumped out to me. Bellinger has a 310 ISO and a 156 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching. Now he's in Coors with Gray allowing a 212 ISO and 41.4% hard contact to left-handed batters. A guy like Alex Verdugo may look better as a value play, but Bellinger's a strong hitter. If you're not going to be able to get to those Dodger stacks, I want to take the best hitter I can. And that looks like Cody Bellinger to me. Shohei Ohtani versus Jordan Zimmerman is also a one-off I like again. Zimmerman is worse versus left-hand batters with a 5.2 xFIP and a 222 ISO allowed, while Ohtani is low owned with a 310 ISO and a 163 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching. With that ownership so far going to Trout and Upton, I think that makes Ohtani an even more valuable play, but I do think stacking all three of those guys is an approach I'll have in some lineups today. And Josh Van Meter versus Jordan Lyles is a one-off who intrigues me as a value play. Van Meter is a lower-owned part of the high-owned Cincinnati stack despite a 250 ISO and a 160 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching, while Lyles gives up a higher fly ball rate of 42% to left-handed batters, along with a 195 ISO as well. Van Meter is cheap, and he could find himself the beneficiary of that production expected for Cincinnati today. He's been hitting well, and at a cheap price, I'm willing to go to him today as a one-off or as part of that Cincinnati mini stack. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's short-ish slate. So right now, like the video, and if you want to win that free month of Awesemo Plus, comment your double dong pick down below. On Friday, again, Mookie Betts went nuts, and that's not an unconventional pick, just one that nobody landed on because he wasn't a chalky play. So get weird with it, but don't feel like you have to get too weird. Just pick a good guy, and whatever you do, make sure to like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. But if you don't want to wait and just want to start your week off the right way, use that promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Get all the ownership projections, the player projections that you can just plug right into Fantasy Cruncher, the deep dive column, the lineup builder, the top stacks tool, a million different things that'll help you make better MLB DFS lineups every single day. So use that promo code Switch and Hedge right now for half off your first month of Awesemo Plus. I don't know what I'm doing with my fist. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. Over the weekend, you missed some content from me, including my podcast, as well as the NFL salaries that came out for week one. I broke down the quarterbacks who jumped out to me. There's lots of different things coming out for me over the weekends and all throughout the week. So right now, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. We also may be having a little show about those NFL salaries coming out. So subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to see if we go live later today. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you had a good weekend and see you guys again soon. Good luck.